Well, good afternoon. This is Dr. Slay. I am your instructor for Reading 370 in the fall semester of, what is this, 2024. Um, Nice to meet you virtually. I want to take you during this session on a virtual tour of D2L and how this course is going to work. So welcome and let's get started. Perhaps some of you will be able to join us during this session. If not, you'll be able to see this recording later on. So what I have, I need to share my screen with you. So let me share that really quick. Let's see, you should be able to see this one. So you should be able to see my D2L screen now. What you see is that when you log in to D2L, you have at the top the home page. The home page always gives you all the different courses that you're taking. In my case, these are the courses from the perspective of the professor. So I have everything that I've ever done here, which is quite a lot. But what I wanted you also to see is that there's some ways to make this a shortcut. So you can also go to this little set of grid up here, and you will, if you click on it, you can see some of these things are blued out. These I have pinned to the top. So if you look down below and find your particular course, you should see where it says reading 370. There it is, the 370 here. You'll see 370. It's fall 2024. And then you click on the pin and see, I just made it clear, so it's going to disappear. But if I put the pin back, it stays right up here. So these are all the various things that I am involved in this semester, and this is from over the years. But you don't, so that's an easy way for you to find what you need right away. And then otherwise, you can go to the semester and find the course that you're in. This will also give you some tools and announcements from the university down here that may pertain to you students. Mine, the ones that I receive typically pertain to the faculty. So I have tried to put myself in student view so that you can see what we're going to find in D2L itself for this particular course. So I am going to actually click on the reading 370 right there. And the first thing that you see always are the announcements. Announcements are the way that I communicate with you all. This is really very important that you log in and that you can view these announcements. So let me show you one of the very first things that I'd like all of you to do. Go up to student, go up to where your name is, and then see where it says profile. You're going to click on profile, and please change your picture so that it's something recognizable of yourself. Also go up there and go to notifications. And you can see that you can download an app, and that as you go through, you can see all the different ways that you can receive notifications. Clearly, I have a lot of things clicked so that I don't miss a beat, but you want to make sure that you're always receiving the announcements. I've had students say, well, I only go into D2L once or twice a week. And I said, well, you've got to go in on a regular basis or leave. You have to receive announcements because I may post them midweek. I may post them usually always once a week, but if something comes up, I will post information there. I do not send mass emails. I only post in the announcements because they stay in the course. And so emails can get buried and they get deleted. The announcements are always there, even if you delete them. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So please make sure that you are receiving announcements. That's your responsibility to be informed of everything that goes on in the course. So if you need to go, okay, here I am on this profile picture, how do I get back to where I was? Just click on the course title, and there you have it. So this was the welcome message. If you did not receive this, please contact me. Chances are you weren't receiving any announcements, but the idea is you will go to announcements up here if you need to see some that have been deleted, because you can always go to the X and it disappears. So you don't have to have this big, huge, long trail of things. Otherwise, you go to announcements and go to announcement tool. And anything that existed before is going to be there. Chances are you're going to see announcements that I have done in the very long past, but you only need to be paying attention to the ones for August 2024. Okay, so there's the information about announcements. Very, very important. You will also see that you have tasks that you need to be getting done when things are due. I can see that a couple of people have turned in one assignment already, so that's what my indicator is. You can get connected to the library. I know our textbook is available through the library as an ebook. You can also see all of the due dates that will come up here. You can click on an assignment and that will take you to the assignment so that you can just go directly there. Or you can go through the course modules themselves. But this is a good way to stay organized. And finally, what you can start with clicking on a module here. I've only revealed to you up to week 1, but I always go to content because I find it most useful to me. You're going to see that on the left-hand side, you have like a table of contents. Now, I know this is 370, so chances are most of you have already been through a few courses with us here at TMUC. You probably had some of us for 350, you've been through 360 at least, maybe some of your LED courses, your EDCI courses. So you're used to D2L, but you're used to it with a different, they changed the layout. So I just want you to kind of get used to this new layout. I certainly had to. So when you see the table of contents, it's still here on the side. And of course, I try to label things in ways that is easy for you to navigate. And anytime you see the arrow, it's a drop-down box so that what you will see in the Start Here button is you get to meet me and you have the introductions Padlet. On the title page or the top page, I'll usually put an overall set of instructions because if there's things embedded. So I'll let you read all of this here. Then you can read a little bit about me. I won't read this to you, just introduce you to my family. I have 2 grandchildren who live with me and keep me quite busy. Jameson's 4 and Aspen is 2. And then here's my daughter who also lives with me. And fortunately, she cooks. And my son and his wife, who now have live in Taiwan. The last time I might have seen some of you, if I had you for a course earlier, they were living in Washington State. I do take students to Mexico. So this is a picture of our most recent trip. One of our archaeologists that was along with us, Dr. Espinosa, some of you will know, and Mrs. Castillo, who some of you also know. And then, of course, some of our, we're in San Miguel de Allende here, and here we are traveling or teaching students. So stay tuned. You'll probably hear more about our upcoming trip soon. But then what I also asked you to do was to go into Padlet, and you'll see that this is a new look. This opened the link, but it makes it easy for you to know this is what you need to do next. And thank you to all of you who have been putting in your announcements and answering these. You should also be completing the burning questions, the contributions, the syllabus, and the contact information. So if you have not completed the other questions, please do so. You may have to log back in to complete all of the others. This takes the place of our discussion board. I don't use the discussions in D2L as much as I use Padlet, although I must say that they've having updated D2L, they might be a little bit more user-friendly. One of the reasons that I like the Padlet is that it allows you to be able to collaborate and talk with peers in a more normal fashion. You can use your phone, you can use your tablet, you can use whatever it is. And anything that comes in also goes to your email. So at any rate, this is where you get to know who we have in the class. So again, just to repeat, if you already introduced yourself, I believe that there's something in it that says to go back and answer some of the other corresponding questions as well. So let's back up. Okay, so here we are. We have the link to the Padlet where you introduce yourself. And then the next tab, so you can close that because it gets a little bit busy here. So we'll close this and we'll go to the course home. The course home is just that. It's like home base. It allows you to have things that are always going to stay there and make it easy to organize the overall content. And then you'll see that we'll have weekly modules pop up every single week for the 16 weeks that we're together. So the syllabus remains all the time. There's the standards and the overview remains there all the time. And then assignment descriptions will be populated as major assignments become due. So let's look at the syllabus first. Here we have it. It's going to pop up. Now, what you're going to see is open to another link. Everything that I do, everything I should say is going to be in Google Docs. So you can see that I'm in Google right now. And the main reason for that is things change. I make edits, I make mistakes, I have to fix something. And so if I do it in Google Docs, you're going to always be sure to have the most recent version of a document in case something has changed. So here's our textbook. Here's my hard copy of the textbook. This is a great book. I love this book. This is written by a couple of people that are part of the National Writing Project, which has greatly influenced our work in teaching writing. You're going to find that writing is something that a lot of teachers are afraid to do. They're afraid to teach it because they don't know how to teach it. It kind of takes a back seat to reading because we test reading. But I hope you will walk away understanding that writing, when you teach kids how to write, you're also improving their reading capacities and their reading capabilities. So this is incredibly important. This is my specialty in terms of education. It's what I did my dissertation. I wrote my dissertation on it, and it's the main focus of a lot of the research that I do as a professor. So one of the things that you'll find about this book is that it's really super user-friendly. It's easy to read. There are some textbooks that are really filled with a lot of academic language. They're a little bit difficult to understand. They're heavy and you don't want to read it when you're tired. But the writing workshop book is one that I would be happy that if you were to keep it on your shelf because you can refer to it. It's got videos embedded in it. It's got links so that you can go find them. It has a lot of good tips to give you a real sense of what does it mean to have a writing workshop. And that's what we're going to be exploring throughout this course. So I think you'll find it easy to read. And yes, I do expect that you will read the book. The other book is this one. Oh, I left it on the other shelf, but it's this very same book here. It's called The Next Steps Forward in Guided Reading. Now you're going to say, yeah, but do they really do guided reading anymore? Think of guided reading in terms of small group reading. We still do small group reading. You'll be in classrooms, you'll see the little small table. We know that our most effective instruction happens when we have a small group rather than teaching to the whole group, although we should have a balance of both small group and large group instruction. Jan Richardson is an expert in teaching children how to read. She has a wonderful cycle from assessing to planning back to assessing, which is that cycle that we should always follow. That's what best instruction shows. And so I have some documents to update what she has written in light of the science of teaching reading, because she is very much involved in also teaching kids the phonics that is necessary to teach reading. So guided reading is now been replaced by the term maybe small group reading. So you'll find both of these books very useful. There's lessons in here. There's resource pages. So you're not going to waste your money by having both of these books. But that said, I do know that the writing workshop book is available on Kindle if you choose to purchase it that way. You can also get it through the library. I think they have unlimited renting of it through the library. I think it's a ebook, which would be your Kindle as well. So there's lots of ways for you to access this information. This is a book that we used to use. This is one of those that's a little bit more academic, I should say. It's an excellent book. I loved it very much. But when we went to this book, I was very happy because I felt like it was talking to teachers, especially teachers who are learning the fundamentals of teaching writing. So let's talk a little bit about what this course is. It builds upon the foundations of reading presented in Reading 350. So I teach Reading 350 also. In fact, I'm teaching both classes this semester. So I'm kind of going to pick up from where we left off in Reading 350, which was that was a lot of content in Reading 350. It's like a huge foundations course. It's a survey. You touch upon a little bit of everything. But in this course, we go much deeper into teaching writing through a writing workshop approach, teaching small group reading, and reading assessment. So the teacher candidates, that's you guys, will explore the science of teaching reading and writing with a particular focus on comprehension. At the end of the day, I want you to write this down. At the end of the day, we read to comprehend. People will say, well, we read, we have to be able to call the words out. Well, of course, that's the phonics part. But you can't comprehend what you can't read. But that should be handled in K, first, and second grade. If they're in third grade and they still can't read words, then we need to build in some interventions. But hopefully that's not the case so much anymore with the science of teaching reading being so strongly valued in schools today. This course is designed to deepen your knowledge and skills in the science of teaching reading that deals with cognition, writing workshop, books from multiple genres, basal readers, and summative and formative assessments. So what's a genre? Some people, it's a word we use all the time. It's a word you need to know, especially if you're a reading teacher. Genre are the types of materials that we read and write. An example of genre is a play, a poem, narrative writing, fiction, nonfiction, informational text. All of those are different genres. Those are the main ones that we would cover in school. And basal readers, some of you will go, what's that? A basal reader are textbooks. Those are the ones that are provided by the great big huge, like Houghton Mifflin and such, these big companies that provide textbooks to entire districts. They usually come with the textbook that the kids will read, and then a resource guide for the teacher, which is great because it has the textbook that the kids will read, plus it has all what they call the ancillary materials. So it has all the workbook pages, and it has all of the answers and all of the guiding material to help you in teaching that. The difference between a basal reader and not having a basal reader, for example, is that basal readers is like a very traditional textbook that has a collection of pieces of literature. They may not be full pieces of literature in their entirety. You won't have a full novel in there. The other alternative is that teachers will use authentic texts, picture books, novels, YA novels, children's literature, to be able to give kids a feeling for what real literature is. It's much more motivating, but there is a place for basal readers as well. And depending on your district, you'll see both of those. The course emphasizes strategies for developing comprehension and the teacher's role in helping K through 12 students utilize the 5 components of reading. So, and then of course, 350 and LED 300 were your prerequisites, which you should have all already taken at least a semester ago. Most likely you did. So I won't go through each one of the objectives, but I will go through, and then we have pages and pages of standards. So we really try very hard to align this course with what you have to know to become certified and what the state requires that our teachers know. So this is just evidence to all of that business. And I'll show you something really quick as soon as I can get to it. So I'm almost there. Here we go. Assessments and assignments. So you will see that where it says competency, these are I just told you we had standards. Well, that's what these are. These are like, this is the STR competency, and it tells you what they are and what they reference. So you can see the alignment of our various courses to what you're expected to know and do, and how we ask you to be able to achieve that. So the first assignment, some of you have already started, is basically a personal reflection of your literacy journey. So I will explain that a little bit more when we get deeper into the course. It's a good place to start because one of the things that we want to recognize is that good teachers, and the research shows this, that what we believe and what we exercise and how we behave and practice in schools as teachers comes from three different sources of information. One, it comes from your experiences as a student, as a learner. Um, so you're influenced by all those people that taught you, and so you tend to believe in terms of what that experience was like. It also comes from the materials that you learn through these textbooks and the courses that you are learning through to get certified. And then the third thing is it comes from the things that you believe to be true about and the world around you and what the influences of the world are in as it shapes your practice. So this exercise is going to help you to kind of ferret out some of those things and think about, well, where did I come from? What was my literacy journey? How did I learn to write? And how is that going to influence who I want to be as a teacher? We will have two group presentations in this course. You're going to be doing a group presentation for guided reading and a group presentation for a writing workshop. So basically, you will be taking material that you learned from the book to be able to develop a lesson that you will actually teach in a small group and develop in a small group and present it and record it for all of us to be able to see and analyze. Excuse me, I have a deep cough here for both sections of the course. You're also going to be involved in a literacy assessment project. So you are going to be exploring various forms of assessment and sharing what you have learned in order to be able to understand all the different types of tests that are out there. We spend an awful lot of time in schools assessing, so it's nice to understand the gamut of all of that, that it exists and how that it influences what we do as reading teachers. This is something that's new. This is across all of our courses, but one of them is called a performance-based assessment. We're going to call it PBA for short. You're going to be writing a shared writing lesson plan, and we will guide you through different components of it. If you were to look at the write-up of that assignment, it's pretty hefty and a little bit overwhelming, and it might be a little scary. So we're going to break it down because you have to gather some information about the kind of class you're going to be teaching. You have to write a very detailed lesson plan and then and make sure that it is aligned to assessment. So we're going to be doing that over the course. And that assignment, it's in yellow because it also needs to be uploaded to your TK20 account. You're all familiar with TK20. You've had to put your observation hours in there. And TK20, just to remind you, is monitored by TEA. And they check that, and our certification office will check with your TK20 account to make sure that you're in compliance before they recommend you for certification after finishing your second semester of clinical teaching. There will be some blog assignments. So you'll be doing a few longer pieces of writing. We very much want you to go through the writing process and understand what it feels like to be a writer and to publish for authentic audiences. So the blogging are going to be various topics, about 4 of them. So probably every 2 to 3 weeks, you'll be writing a blog post, and I'll guide you through the various topics. The first one will most likely have to do with writing instruction and engagement. There'll be one on cultural relevancy. I forget what the other 2 topics are. Another one that you have to do for TEA, again, notice it says TEA dyslexia training. This is another compliance thing. You're going to do lots of certification. You get lots of certificates over the course of your teaching career. And you are going to end up putting this, I believe, in TK20 as well. If not, definitely to D2L. But it'll be a website. If this is all on your own, I will give you the website. I'm going to say, go get this module done, and then you'll provide evidence of getting it done with a certificate. And then we'll have a couple of quizzes and a final at the end, which is the final is reflective. You'll be doing a lot of writing in this course because that's what we do. And we know that you can write this down. Writing is thinking. It's how we synthesize. It's how we work out what we're trying to accomplish and what we think and what we believe. So it's very important. And finally, let's see. I'm going to tell you, it's an online course. So one of the things that I do to monitor attendance is an assignment that will be due every Friday. Every Friday, I will post in our weekly agenda, which I will show you where that is in just a minute. I will post something that you have to do by Friday. If you don't do it by Friday, it will it it's one of those attendance things. So you either get it done or you lose the points for that. Other assignments are going to be due on let's see, what today is Wednesday. Will be due on Tuesdays before we have class. So the other assignments will have a longer span of time. They'll be due right before class. But the weekly assignments, which is going to be reflective, maybe it's a discussion post, something that's not too heavy, but it is something that you have to have done by the end of the week that's relating to the material that we have, that we're reading and going through each week. So I don't want you, and I'm going to reiterate this, I absolutely do not want you doing this entire course over a weekend. You've got to check in every day or at least 2 or 3 times a week in order to be able to keep up with this course. There's just too much information, and you'll get overwhelmed if you try to do everything in one day. So you plan and set some time aside where you can read the book, you can take notes. I encourage you to write in your books, take notes. There's lots of references to the important people that influence our practices as reading and writing teachers in the material. So make sure that you are capturing that, because you need to be knowledgeable. You need to know what you're doing. And let's see, that's not meant to be a blank page, but it just goes to where we can start at the top of the next page. And this is really important too. If something changes, it will probably be here, because you will see that everything is broken out over 16 weeks. And we start what I intend to cover during that week will be here on the left. What we are reading will be in the middle, and then when the assignments are due will be here. I do not have dates for all of these yet because I will put them as we progress, but you can get an idea of when they're due, what the target is by looking at it in the week, that this is the beginning of the week when that's usually a Monday. That should be a Monday date so that we start up when we start the semester, or the beginning of each week. So I also have I'm sorry, I just made a mistake. These dates are the Zoom classes. My apologies. So I have set it up so that you can come online and you can join me for this recording. You can come online just to ask questions and hear if there's a lecture that I'm going to be giving, because a lot of times you get a lot more information from it and you can interact. And it's generally a better experience when you are able to come online. But given that it's an online class, if you don't come online, there's no penalty. The penalties are on Friday when you don't get your work or get a response. It doesn't mean everything for the week is done, but a response to the Friday question must be done. Let me repeat that. It must be done on Friday, not Saturday, not Sunday, not the following week, because there is a deadline and it will close. So if you're not attending to it, you can do it before Friday, but you cannot do it after Friday to get credit for that particular week. So I really encourage you to look at the modules at the beginning of the week and then be able to plan your week out accordingly. You will notice here that next week is when I expect you to have read chapters 1 and 2 of the writing workshop book. So I encourage you to get that book immediately and start reading now. Just because it says it's due then doesn't mean you can start on Monday unless you're just an excellent reader. But if you're someone that needs some time to be able to consume material, especially given that you're probably taking other classes as well, start now so that it's a more enjoyable reading experience, okay? And then, of course, you can see that this literacy journey reflection is already due next week. So I've given you plenty of time. So it was due on Tuesday because that's the bigger assignment. I don't have a Friday prompt here because your first prompts are to respond to the Padlet. And so that's pretty much the focus of the course. So if this changes, it'll be changing live time because, as I said, this is in Google Docs. And dates sometimes change because we go with life. We go with how we're proceeding and what's going on around us. So let's go back here and that was the syllabus. And you can see the standards, the same standards that were listed in the syllabus are right here if you wanted to isolate those. And what else? So here's some of the descriptions of the assignments. Here's the personal writing assignment. It's the only one that I revealed to you because I don't want you to get overwhelmed. So I'm going to skip. It's like home base. Remember, I said it's the course home, so that anything I link in weeks 1 through 16 will take you back to this home base. So if you go in and out of course home, that's up to you, but always make sure that you're paying attention to the weekly modules. So when you go into week 1, you will see the first thing on the top page. This will be our weekly agenda, and it'll give you an idea of what's going to happen throughout the week. The format will change slightly as we get into the course, and I'm not so wordy in describing the introduction of everything, but you'll always have content. You'll always have a list of things to do, tasks and assignments. And I'm the queen of hyperlinks, so I try to hyperlink everything here to make your life easy. But if not, I'm going to show you where to find everything. And then finally, I want to talk about the office hours. I think that the best way to, I teach other courses. I also see students in the field, so I'm on the road quite a bit. And I know that you are all busy. So given that this is a set time for us to meet, I will hold office hours on Wednesdays after the live Zoom session. So you're free to pop in if you have a question. I will not repeat the live session at that time, but if you have a quick question, I'm happy to be able to answer that. And then I will always post the recording of this live session within 24 hours. I have to wait for it to pop up and to buffer, and then I set it up there so you can see it easily. So there's your office hours. Now, if none of those times meet your needs, all you have to do is contact me and we'll make arrangements for a phone call, a Zoom call, whatever it is that works for you to get whatever questions you have satisfied. Don't be afraid to reach out. Communication is huge, and I expect that you will stay in communication with me. If I hear dead silence out there, I will find a way to find you, because this course is more effective when we have a community of learners. So I will encourage discussion, such as through the Padlet, for example, or I will encourage discussion on our Friday deadlines that I mentioned to you. But I do expect you to be engaged. So if you're not communicating with me or engaged in some way, then that will affect your grade. It can lower your grade by a whole. So if you're an A student, chances are you'll get a B if you are not showing engagement. Just turning in assignments on the due date is not full engagement. It is a part of the engagement, but that's not full engagement in the course. Okay. Deadlines are deadlines. I expect you to meet the deadlines. If you are ill or you have a doctor's note, of course, reach out, and I can be very patient with that. I will accept assignments, except for the Friday ones, after the deadline. However, you will lose points on those if they are beyond the deadline, especially when you're working with a group. You're going to have to figure out how to make that work because you got to support each other. And so now this takes us to you're in the modules. So a lot of times I will have a tab that says course content, but we don't have, our course content is getting oriented here. So really our course content this week is this recording. So you get yourselves organized. But so I have the introductions Padlet, and then I have the writing reflection. So that, again, here's the Padlet, takes you here. Oops, I need to fix that. That was last year's Padlet, my mistake. Let me, as soon as we get off, I will make sure that we have the correct link. My apologies for that. And then the personal writing reflection. So you click on that. Let's hope this one works. This should take you to the assignment, and it says click on this link to read the instructions. So this link takes you back to course home where the assignments are. So it tells you to write about your personal classroom dealings with literacy. It must be typed double space using 12-point New Roman font and follow APA 7 to guidelines. And what else? So that's about a page to a page and a half. I want you to be thorough. I don't want you to be wordy. I want you to say what you mean. And here are some things that you can talk about in reference to your experiences. Really go into your experience about writing. That's the main thing that I want to hear about you as a writer, and then what your goals are in how you think all of what we're going to be learning in this class is going to influence your next journey, your teaching career that you have coming up. So that's the first assignment. It also gives me an idea who you are as a writer. It's like a baseline, and I get to know a lot about you through your writing. So that's the assignment. Let's go see. Notice everything opens up in new tabs all the way across. And I think that was a deliberate redesign in TK in D2L to make it easier to find things. So let's see. Oh, that's something different. There's the reflection, and that's all we have for this week. Next week, we're going to start talking about what the writing workshop is. You'll be reading the chapters in the book, so please get your book now. I think you should make your life easy and read chapter 1 this week and chapter 2 next week, but everything needs to be done by the end of the week. And you will have a Friday check-in. I call them check-ins. You will have a Friday check-in next Friday, and pretty much count on it being something to do with the writing workshop book. And that's it for today. I try to keep these as short as possible and focused and to the point. So I'm going to sign out simply because I don't want to take unnecessary time on these recordings. You know how to reach me at laura.slay@tamuc.com. I think you will find that on the syllabus. You also have my cell phone. Let me just check that really quick. Yep, it's on my cell phone. It says office phone. It's on my on the syllabus. You may certainly use that. However, please be professional and be polite. If I don't know who you are, I won't respond and I will delete it. I don't deal with spam, and so I need for you to say, hi, this is Stacy Schubitz in your Reading 370 class, and then state your purpose for contacting me. And that way I'll know who you are and I can interact with you professionally. But I put that not on there because sometimes it's a whole lot easier and quicker for us to text than it is to use to do email, but I respond to both. If you were to phone me, I may not answer the phone because, again, I guard for spam, and I'm not always in a place where I can talk on the phone because I might be driving, I might be in a classroom, I might be teaching a class, I might be working with colleagues on some research. There's lots of other things that I do outside of teaching these courses, but I am here to work with you and to serve. So you let me know what I can do to make this a good semester for you. And thank you for listening in. Have a great semester. Bye-bye.